Ambassador Daniel Reeves had served humanity for 12 years among the stars, navigating delicate negotiations with species that could vaporize Earth with a thought. He had maintained perfect composure through diplomatic disasters, cultural misunderstandings, and even an incident involving a misplaced gravitic weapon. Nothing had ever broken his professional demeanor. Until today. The Valdrine Empire controlled half the known galaxy. Their Empress, Kalara the Magnificent, stood 9 feet tall with 4 arms, crystalline skin that reflected light like a prism, and a presence that made seasoned warriors tremble. She ruled 300 worlds with absolute authority, commanded fleets that blotted out suns, and had personally negotiated the Treaty of 12 Systems that prevented the last Great War. She was currently wedged between the ornamental railings of her ceremonial balcony, stuck fast at approximately waist height, with her lower arms flailing uselessly, while her upper arms gripped the marble floor. Daniel pressed his knuckles against his mouth, shoulders shaking. "Ambassador Reeves," Kalara said, with as much dignity as someone trapped in decorative metalwork could muster. "This is not amusing." A sound escaped Daniel's throat that he desperately tried to disguise as a cough. It did not sound like a cough. It sounded exactly like what it was, the beginning of hysterical laughter. The situation had unfolded with the kind of absurd inevitability that characterized the best disasters. The Empress had been showing Daniel the view from her private balcony, a sweeping vista of the capital city Morth, spreading below like a jeweled tapestry. She had been gesturing expansively about the architectural achievements of her people when her ceremonial gown snagged on one of the railing posts. Being Empress of most of the galaxy, Kalara was unaccustomed to things not immediately obeying her will. She had tugged. The fabric had not released. She had tugged harder, leaning forward. The railing, designed for aesthetic appeal rather than structural integrity, had barred space just wide enough for an Empress, annoyed with a stuck garment to fit her torso through while attempting to unhook herself. Just not wide enough for her to fit back out. "The Royal Guard will arrive momentarily," Kalara announced, her prismatic face flushing a shade that Daniel had learned indicated extreme embarrassment. "You will forget this occurred." "Yes, Your Radiance," Daniel managed, voice strangled. "I am serious, Ambassador. This incident is classified at the highest level of Imperial security." "Absolutely, Your Radiance. Stop making that noise." "I'm not making any noise, Your Radiance." He was. His whole body was vibrating with suppressed laughter. Kalara attempted to pull herself backward again. The railing posts, carved from some decorative alloy that looked delicate, but apparently possessed the tensile strength of neutronium, refused to budge or bend. Her lower arms grabbed at the bars, pushing and pulling experimentally. "Perhaps if you twisted sideways?" Daniel suggested, grateful for something to focus on besides the image that would definitely haunt his dreams forever, the most powerful being in known space, trapped like a cartoon character. "I have tried twisting," Kalara said icily. "I have tried every logical method of extraction. Have you tried going forward and down? Maybe you could slip under instead of back through." "Ambassador Reeves, do you see how far the drop is beyond this balcony?" Daniel looked over the edge. They were approximately 800 feet up. "Right, bad idea. Indeed." A small sound escaped him again. He turned it into another unconvincing cough. "You are laughing," Kalara accused. "I would never. Your Radiance, you are literally shaking. I think I might be having a medical episode." "You are having a laughter episode at my expense." Daniel made the mistake of looking directly at her. The Empress of 300 worlds was stuck in a balcony railing, with her rear end pointing toward the sky and her dignified expression trying desperately to maintain imperial authority from a fundamentally undignified position. He lost it. The laughter burst out of him like a dam breaking, great whooping gasps that bent him double, He tried to stop, pressed both hands over his mouth, but it only made the sound stranger and more animal-like. Tears streamed down his face. "This is treason," Kalara informed him. That somehow made it funnier. Daniel collapsed against the wall, sliding down until he was sitting on the marble floor, absolutely howling with laughter. "I could have you executed," the Empress continued, but there was something in her voice now. Daniel looked up, still giggling helplessly, and saw that Kalara's shoulders were shaking too. Her crystalline face had shifted through several colors rapidly, the Valdrine equivalent of fighting a losing battle against one's own face. "Don't," she warned. "Don't you dare make me laugh. This is humiliating enough." "I'm sorry," Daniel gasped. "I'm so sorry. It's just... You're stuck, I am aware. A mighty Empress Kalara, terror of the Seventh Fleet, brought low by decorative architecture. Ambassador, I swear by the three moons. How did you even get this far through? The physics don't make sense." A sound emerged from Kalara that might have been a growl or might have been a strangled laugh. I twisted while leaning. The angle was different. Now I cannot replicate it in reverse. Have you tried the twist again? Multiple times. Daniel pulled himself together enough to stand, wiping his eyes. He approached the balcony and examined the situation from several angles, trying to think practically. The railing was solid, the gaps between bars exactly wide enough to create this ridiculous predicament. "Where is your royal guard?" he asked. "I dismissed them before showing you the balcony. Privacy for diplomatic conversation. So nobody knows you're stuck except me." "Correct. And you cannot call them because..." Kalara's flush deepened to a shade Daniel had never seen before. "My communication device is in my pocket. My lower pockets, which I cannot reach in this position." Daniel sat down again, fresh waves of laughter overtaking him. "This is not helping," Kalara said, but now she was definitely fighting a smile. The prismatic quality of her face made it impossible to hide completely. "I'm sorry," Daniel repeated, meaning it this time. He stood once more and retrieved his own communicator. "I'll call for assistance. No. Your Radiance, you're stuck. I am aware of my condition, Ambassador. However, if you summon the guard, this story will spread throughout the Empire within hours. The Empress stuck in her own balcony railing. It will undermine everything I have built." Daniel paused, considering. She was right. In the complex political environment of the Valdrine court, any sign of weakness could be disastrous. He had seen lesser incidents used as weapons in the endless games of imperial intrigue. "So what do you suggest?" he asked. "You are human, yes? Your species is known for creative problem-solving under pressure. Solve this." Daniel walked around the balcony again, studying the railing from every angle. The bars were too strong to bend with available tools. The spaces were too narrow to widen. Going forward meant an 800-foot drop. "Your gown is stuck on that post, right? That's what started this?" "Yes. Can we tear it?" "This is the ceremonial gown of the Third Dynasty, woven with threads of compressed starlight. It is literally indestructible. Of course it is." Daniel rubbed his face, thinking, what if we removed the gown entirely? The silence that followed this suggestion was profound. "You wish me to disrobe?" Kalara asked carefully. "I'm trying to think of options that don't involve calling the guard, or waiting until someone happens to notice the Empress is missing." More silence. Then, "Turn around. Your Radiance? Turn around and do not look until I say otherwise, or I will have you fed to the Void Serpents." Daniel turned around very quickly, facing the interior of the chamber. Behind him, he heard rustling, some muttered Valdrine curses he pretended not to understand, and finally a triumphant exclamation. "You may look now." He turned to find Kalara standing free of the railing, holding her ceremonial gown in one lower arm while using her upper arms to hold a decorative tapestry wrapped around herself like a towel. Her expression dared him to comment. Daniel said nothing. He simply walked to the chamber doors, opened them, and called for her attendants to bring fresh garments for the Empress, explaining only that there had been a minor wardrobe malfunction during their diplomatic discussion. When the attendants arrived, and Kalara had retired to dress properly, she returned to the balcony where Daniel waited. She looked once more like the ruler of 300 worlds, composed and magnificent. "You will never speak of this," she said. "Agreed, Your Radiance. The penalty for doing so would be severe. I understand completely." She studied him for a long moment, her crystalline features unreadable. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. It was a real smile, not the formal diplomatic expression she wore in public. "Thank you, Ambassador Reeves, for both your assistance and your discretion." "Of course, Your Radiance, although I maintain that your laughter was treason." "It absolutely was." "I apologize. You do not sound very sorry." "I'm a little bit sorry." Kalara's smile widened slightly. "Humans, you are all impossible. This is why we like you." Daniel bowed, managing to keep his expression neutral until he left the Imperial chambers. Once in the hallway alone, he allowed himself one more quiet laugh. Nobody would ever believe this story anyway.